Welcome back to my series on Transport Fever 2. We've done a lot of work in the north solving all of our issues up here, and it's time to head south finally. But before we leave, I just wanted to quickly show you Bracknell. The city has expanded all the way out to the outer perimeter streets that I've built, and interestingly, it is meeting all of its supply and demand except for the machine parts which are created locally. They're almost there, and a tiny bit of fuel. But all the others are totally maxed out. And I just want to quickly look here. There's a little bit of machine parts there being picked up, a little bit of fuel being picked up right now. And the machine parts are created locally here, basically maxed out. They're supplying 635 to Bracknell, which I think was their demand, right? Yeah, 635. So this city is a totally maxed out city. Just let's look at the train station because it was overcrowded a little last time, but I think we solved that problem. Yeah, 100%. This is a really well serviced train station now. But that means our bus services are probably lacking just a touch. Line 4 needs a couple of extra buses on it. They don't make much money. In fact, I think I've mentioned before, I don't mind my buses losing a little bit of money. But yeah, those couple of buses should solve. That's not really an issue. I mean, that's more than likely a train just came in and dropped off, you know, 300 passengers. So it's probably a temporary or short-term issue at best. There's our new buses. Trucks are pulling out. Yeah, this city is as good as it gets. It's all serviced by this little train station here. Food on this side, all the rest of the goods come here on the center line, and the track on the right delivers what the planks for the machine parts. Okay, let's just quickly call up our station HUD icon. Yeah, look at that, sweet as. Loving it, loving it. But in this direction, oh mama, we got a problem. We got coal and iron right in front of us. We got big double irons, double coals, huge one down the back there. We got crude oil issues as well as passenger issues. I think we'll start here, Maghole Mountain. Now, a lot of these lines just had an extra train thrown on them at some point in the past, just to help with some of the issues that I knew that were coming. Let's just quickly check on our little shunters here. They're doing just fine. There is no goods on that platform. And they're bringing it down to the main line here. And I'm going to keep them as shunters. They're working just fine. And they're short. They're not even very long. I think they're like 160 meters. Maybe 240. It's hard for me to tell these days now that I run 400 and 500 meter trains. Or look at that iron. That's a big issue there. It's all being brought down to this steel factory, and I think it's almost running at capacity. And the steel gets shunted back up to here to this machine's factory, which is not quite there. And then they transfer the leftover steel and the machine parts over to Swindon Rail Hub over there, cargo hub. Okay, so that's a lay of the land. That's what we're dealing with today. I think I'm just going to start with a line upgrade to high-speed rail. Because on this long line, I think I can take advantage of the length of this line and maybe go with some sort of train setup that can exploit the high-speed tracks and just get everything done quicker. Because there's a lot of congestion down at the steel mill. And the short answer isn't just throwing extra trains on the line, because then you have congestion. I had a similar problem with the planes. Just throwing more planes on the line just made it even worse. And throwing extra trains on these lines may well have actually just made it worse. I'm going to upgrade this stone bridge to, what is it, a steel bridge? An iron bridge. 180 kilometers. That's what we need. We need that up here as well. Okay, I've upgraded all of the coal and iron lines that are shared. It's all shared, this section, so between those two lines. And we will try and fix both of them together. Just looking at, okay, so we've got a build-up of goods, and we're running single GE C40s with the older gondolas. So I think these trains are making a profit. There's nothing wrong with them making money. They definitely make money. But like I said, I can't just put more trains on the line. I need to enhance these trains to get them to move faster and more goods at a faster rate. And I think this 246 series will actually give me a chance at doing that. 160 kilometers an hour, 2,700 horsepower, and 240 as the tractive effort. If I run a few of these engines, with the 160 top speed, I will use the new gondolas that we got. Now, these gondolas are worth using regardless of what engine you're using, because they're shorter, which means you can fit more capacity on a single train, and they have a higher capacity as well. The other ones are 18 and these are 20. So they've got a higher capacity and they've got the ability to carry more at the same length. In fact, we're going to aim for 400 meters here instead of 500 meters. We'll go with the color. And we'll use 4 engines. Now that's going to make this train fairly expensive. 128 million for the train, 109 to do the upgrade. And it's not that my trains are in bad condition or anything. They've been around for a little while, I guess. And let's see. I mean, they should be faster. They do carry more. The big question will be is, do they make me just as much money as this guy does? And so what we'll do is we'll upgrade 2 of the 3 trains, and we'll compare them to the 3rd train, which I will leave in its original condition. And we'll be able to compare how much they cost, how much money they make. We can do a speed test. I've got a fairly good idea on how fast these guys run already. They have a 120 top speed, so they're not going to compete on speed. They're not going to compete on how much they can carry. Their only hope is that of sticking around on, especially on this long line, is that that this train might end up not making very much money because of how much it's going to cost to run. And with the 4 engines, we're talking about 11,000 horsepower here. So, we're comparing it to 4,000 horsepower. on the on the GE C40s that are originally running, and they're doing all of that with a single engine. We're going to need four of these babies to compete with it. Um, but like there aren't many lines on the map, especially on sort of coal and eye lines that are this long. So if I can take advantage of it on this line, I'm not sure how well it will work on a medium to short line. But we'll test that out here today with the iron line. The iron line is about half the distance. Um, well, it's probably a little bit over half, but it's got two legs to it. It's got two pickups, and then it's got to get onto the main line here and just get across these bridges to drop its steel off. So you're empty. If I could click on you, come on, you can do it. Okay, he's making money, 2.5 million. So I'm not losing money on these guys. The difference between this engine though is it only has a top speed of 105. They can't really take advantage of much more on the length of the line. They hit 105 when they're empty and they're doing their first pickup. But we will see how you cope with our newer engines. Now, to be honest, I'm not expecting this to go that well. I mean, we'll color them different so they're easy to identify, especially when they're empty. Because of the... no, I don't want the blue gondolas. I just want to keep the original color of the gondolas for now. I'll experiment with color types later on, but for now I'll just keep the original reds for now. Yeah, so the length of this line means they're not going to be able to hit full speed. I mean, I'm assuming that the coal line will hit full speed. This iron line, no, I don't think so. They'll be able to carry more than what they're currently carrying, which will be helpful. But their chances of making money, yeah, I mean, I'm worried about the coal, to be honest, but these guys I'm really worried about making money with. Okay, well, we have advanced a little. So what we have is our two coal trains have just delivered. And we've got a third coal train, which is what we were previously using. We've upgraded then to 4-engine Series 246s. Whoops. Okay. And what I want to do here is look at that profit, 13 million. That is better than what our original train was making. Our original train was averaging around about, I think it was about 10 to 11 million, to be honest, from memory. I think that's what it was. I'm curious to see if I can get a speed run here. There has been some adjustments to the signals, especially in this area. I've just made them a little tighter. They're not designed to stack these signals. They're much shorter than the train length. And this section in particular, where he comes up behind a train that is crossing, the iron train crosses over here, I just want to give him the ability to try and hold as much speed through there and not come to a stop, if possible. And we'll see how that plays out as we go through this process. But this is our last signal, by the way. We're entering the tunnel at 140, and we're carrying some stone. We don't carry stone every trip. Sometimes there's a trip that doesn't. So he's got some weight on. He's 145 here. I'm just going to take this opportunity to signal this other half of the line. And because the bottom end was signaled so well or so tight, there really wasn't too much of a chance of them stacking up this end. So occasionally they stacked up this end, but it kept some separation, and it wasn't really important for me to have this end of the line signaled. It didn't create too many issues for me, let's put it that way. And so we'll get one more signal in here. I know there's a signal just a little bit further up at the train depot, just before before the platform. So yeah, he's not even close to up there, so we'll be fine. Okay. While he's loading up, I actually need to do the opposite side of the line, because these guys at speed will more than likely run fairly tight with each other. As you can see, he's going to arrive before he pulls out. But once we get around us where they cycle, they'll get into some good separation, and they should operate pretty well together. Now this is our original coal train. My God, look at all that iron. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to. How much is up this end? No, that's fine there. How much coal is up here? Are we? Oh, we got this under control almost already. Well, there's a full platform. That there's a lot of coal still on the platform, and the shunters are bringing it down as well. So there is another load there for the next train, but we're basically caught up already on the coal. Whoa, did you glimpse that? Oh, we got a new bus. 22 million this line is making. Um, oh, and a new tram for the year 2001. January 2001. Okay. Uh, 80 clicks out of the station. These engines have a decent amount of power. I mean, they're not really lacking in power. Um, and they're not lacking in top speed. And it doesn't seem they're lacking in profit either. For this line in particular, for a long line, I think this is my go-to setup in the future for anything that's got a bit of distance on it. Just curious if we can do a speed test on the way down with a full load. I didn't actually check to see if they hit 160 on the way up. I just assumed that they did. They were close, right? They were 140 at the tunnel. So I'm assuming they hit 160, but I didn't actually check. And I'm happy with an empty run or a half load of stone coming up. You know, if they can hit top speed there, that's amazing. We are slowing up for a train crossing in front of us, but we're slowing up all the way back here, which means I've stuffed up a signal. There should be a signal on this line just before where he crosses, because he's crossing from the left-hand up line across to the pickup. And on this downward line, there should be a signal here, but it's obviously missing. Otherwise, we would not have stopped here. Well, we didn't stop. We did slow down. And this is our iron upgraded 246. And he's picked up a half load of iron. And he's almost speed checking us now. Almost equal with us. Yeah, oh, that's where I needed a signal, just back there. Yeah, okay. Remind me later that I need to put a signal there. I just want to take this run into the drop-off a bit down here. I mean, even with a slowdown, I'm just curious how well this train performs. Yeah, so we're matching speeds now. He's only got a half load on, and he's going to pull in for a pickup here. I'm really loving this map, guys. Like when I'm not recording and I just take a stroll around the map, um, yeah, I'm really enjoying this map, and I'm looking forward to this upgrade that we're doing actually, and more so around this southern area, and get this southern area really humming. Okay, we're on a bit of an uphill here, so we might struggle to get, a decent top speed through here. Could have some tighter signaling through here as well, so I don't want any slowdowns on the way in. And the beauty, if we can remove just at least one train off this line, it'll mean that they flow into their drop off here so much smoother. I don't want stacking in here. Okay, what are you going to make for me? You're going to make more than our standard train? Yeah, 11.5 million. I'm happy with that. I think he can do better. I think he should do better. And you had to stop, so we've got no hope of a speed test on you, buddy. But that's the problem with running a lot of trains on the line. Oh, they're eating into that. Okay, they're getting there. That upgraded train is carrying more. So, and the fact that I've got these faster trains mean they're in and out of that station faster as well. So if everything's faster, with maybe we shorten the train line down by one or two, this will become a much better this will become a much better line. Got a bit of stone build up here now. A little bit of coal here. Okay, so he's getting a load speed penalty because he's over the 400. His profit is decent. He's carrying profit all the way up to this end. We've also got the coal train coming in. That's good to clear that out. He had an upgrade recently, so there's a little bit more coal heading up here this way as that upgraded. Okay, you're doing okay. Are we eating into this? Yes, we are. It's starting to come down. Okay, how are you doing, my friend? Yes, you're the 11.5 million train. Very happy with that. He's at least matching the profit that our existing train was making previously. So let's see how this guy does. Oh, is he going to make 11? Want him to get to at least 11. Mm, 9. Okay, he's a little short on that run. Okay, might need a couple of runs to get into a good groove here, because he did have a interrupted trip down. He had to stop fully. And this guy's flying 145 to the tunnel, also carrying stone. So this guy surely's making 160, right? Let's confirm the 160. Does he get there before, or is he a little short? We've got an uphill run here, actually. So he's not picking up speed here. Then he gets to the top of the bridge and he gets a bit of a downhill run here. So he's got a chance to pick up a few kilometers here. 157, 158. Now he's got an uphill run into the station. So, oh yeah, 159. He's there. Come on, 160. All right, he makes 160. He's carrying an excellent profit. He's carrying more goods faster. Uh, yeah, I think this is my. I'm certain that this will be my setup on this line. Very happy with that. The shunters are still running nicely. We're basically going to clear the platform this time. He might even have to wait a minute for the shunter to come down. Yeah, platform cleared. Okay. Very happy with what has happened with those 246s. I didn't actually think that I would match the profit with those four engines. With this guy, he used to make a little bit of profit, not very much, 2 million. And this guy used to make a profit around about 10, if I remember rightly. 11, 11.9, we'll call it 12. So, you know, he wasn't, it wasn't that he was losing money, but I think we can get rid of him now. We've got this line covered without him. We can sell him, and the two high-speed trains will look after the line now. And with him gone, I guess they'll have more potential to make, you know, to match him at 12 million. I'm hoping they will end up matching him at 12 million, but I'm happy with what we've done so far. This iron train, however, is a real problem. 5.7, 6.5 million in the red. There's no way he's breaking even here, right? No, no. He's lost 2.6, 1.8. Okay, he's lost 1.8. It doesn't get any better than that. As he pulls out from the station, it only gets worse from there. So he's never going to make me a profit by running this train on a short to medium. This train, however, I think this train has the same setup, exactly the same train, has a lot more potential on that longer line. He can get to his top speed. He can, yeah, we can take advantage of all that horsepower with the higher load that it can carry equals higher profits. And he's still carrying a 3 million profit over from his last delivery. Yep, so now he's up to 15. Wow, okay. All right, I was just checking on the coal situation and they've kind of got that under control. We've got, this guy is on his way down, uninterrupted probably. 132 on the way up. He had stone on though. This, however, is probably our first opportunity to do a speed test on the way into our delivery, uninterrupted. He's doing 130, which isn't too bad. 540 coal on board. He's still carrying a little bit of profit from last delivery, but I think that might disappear by the time we get down here. The iron looks like they're slowly but surely getting it done. We might need some tighter signaling down here. I have tweaked it a little, just so it's a little tighter. It's not designed for stacking, guys. The signaling. 142, a few bumps there. Or I might need to, yeah, 142, not bad. I'm happy with that. I might need to look at those bumps. Then again, it's a coal line. It's not like my high-speed passenger line, where I really need to get rid of the bumps out of that line. It's a coal line. I can live with a couple of bumps, right? Profit. Okay, please tell me that you're going to make me money. Come on. Well, I mean, it is an uninterrupted run, but I'm not sure it was uninterrupted on the way up. That impacts how much money they make. He's a little over length. Almost 13 million. I'm happy with that. That's excellent. Little bit of a loading speed penalty there. That's nothing to worry about, but I could just drop one car off. It'll bring it down to a 400-meter train, and that'll solve that issue. And while we're waiting for the other iron to work its way down, we might as well check on these guys. Now they're dealing with the iron here, no problem at all. It's not a huge long line, and we've got a train waiting here, so like there's no reason for that train to be waiting here. And we can upgrade these guys. It's not long enough to run the 246s, so I think what I'll end up going with on the other iron line once they've worked it down, so I'll probably switch to a double C40 engine. And the reason for that is this carries more. I can keep it to a 400-meter train, and it carries 580 with only 2 engines. And I'll need the second engine to pull that sort of weight without them crawling along really slowly. And speed matters. The speed of delivery matters. You know, if I can get in more deliveries in the same amount of time, makes more money, right? Okay, what do we got here? Oh, look at all these coal trains. Okay, it's not as many coal trains as I've been looking at lately. Like, I know this guy that's got 100 coal trains on his map. And, well, this is not 100 coal trains, but, you know, I do like seeing these trains running. I really do. Okay. These are a little bit different than his coal trains. My coal trains are a little bit more modern. I think his coal trains are nicer though. Like just old, original 19th century. Wooden gondolas. Old steam. Huge rail yards. Oh my God. Crazy stuff. Anyway, I really enjoyed his episode this week. Anyway, back to my chaos. These trains are looking good. Look at that. I like the look of that. Yeah, what was I saying? Making money. I love making money in game, and it's not so easy in this gameplay. But you know, we're keeping our head above water. Let's put it that way. While I'm not sort of making $10 billion, I've got a train here that's just totally chill. He's just cruising across this bridge. He's not in any hurry whatsoever. He's going to go through the tunnel. He's going to pick up his stone. He's going to make his way back. He's in no rush. He's got the easiest job on the map. However, these guys have got to punch this iron down to the steel mill so we can make as much steel as possible. And how these trucks going? These are still Kenworths. I haven't gone around the map and upgraded the hell out of the map and changed every truck. No, in fact, in some areas, like these Kenworths are going to stay here. If they're handling the flow of iron into here just fine, I won't get rid of them. I'll keep some of them around the map. I like them a lot. and I want some variation on the map. I don't want the same train everywhere. I don't want the same truck everywhere if I can help it. It's hard. It's hard not to do it when you get a big upgrade. Your first inclination is just upgrade everything to the latest and the newest. Makes sense, right? But I try and keep some sort of variation on the map. It also like gives some areas some character. Like I once I get a setup though on a type of line. So for example, these iron and coal lines. Like once I get something that I like, that I think looks good and performs well and makes me a lot of money, ticks all those boxes, then that's what I'm really aiming for. I'm not aiming just to make money. I'm not aiming just to have the fastest trains on the map. And on the reverse side of that, I'm not aiming just to look good. I mean, I've done that a couple of times. I had the Hiawatha on the map running. Um, oh, let me think. I want a sort of a unique color for different lines, right? So that they, especially when they're running side by side, I'd like them to stand out a little bit, you know. So I'm just going to make a 400 gondola here and get rid of the second train. This is obviously going to be able to handle this coal, no problem at all. But what I was saying was like I have put some trains on the map at times that are really just for looks, and then I pay for it later. Like the Hiawatha high speed passenger train that never made me any money, and I kept it around really just for the looks. And I might bring it back. It's sitting in a garage right now, costing me money. Not much, a couple of 100,000 here and there. And while I've got coal and iron trains running around making me millions, I can afford to keep him in the garage. And every now and then, I might break him out and let him come out on a really modern line and have, a special steam day in the future. But I don't just pick stuff for the looks. I don't just pick stuff for the money. I try and get sort of, well, that's running at full capacity. And now, even with it running at full capacity, those steel trains are not running full. However, that is not an issue for today. This guy making money is the issue for today, and he is. Well, not as much as what I thought, but he is. He's making money. Okay, the iron is almost down off the storage, the ground storage platforms. So we are going to have to make a decision on these guys very shortly. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like, oh my God, 18.5 million. You are definitely a good decision, buddy. I haven't taken the extra car off you, so we'll bring you down to 400 meters, but 18 million. Okay. I didn't think we'd get that high. That's just on one of them. And if he makes multiple deliveries, I mean, anyway, they've almost got this platform emptied. When he picks up here, yeah, ground storage is empty and half of the platform is empty. And that one is good and the coal is fine. Yep, full load, 200 on the platform, which is nothing. 200 stone, we can live with that. Okay, no problem whatsoever. Okay, doing well, my friend. You're doing well. No, don't get sidetracked with whatever that issue is there. We've almost got this done. How are we doing? Empty. 147. You're not even at the tunnel yet. You're doing 147. That's the difference between carrying stone up and not carrying stone up. You're carrying 500. Okay. We have to make a decision on you, my friend. you are making me money. I don't take this to heart, mate. You're making me money. You're doing really well. Look at that, $3.3 million. But you are slow as hell, and you're not carrying enough. Okay, you can carry. You can do better. So we are going to retire you. You're a good train, but 105 top speed? No, no. Your big brother here is much better, and we're going to double him up for good measure. Because here's the problem. I don't want the speed train behind him to get slowed down by him. So, you know, that's why I wanted to test the 246s on this line. Because I was hoping to make the whole line uniform, same engine, same length, same setup. They're not going to slow each other down. And that's why I wanted to go with these originally. But, you know, that 10 million running cost is a real problem on a short line. Like on a long line, you can make more money than that. But on a short line, it's a real problem. And I don't get the speed that he can do. Whereas this guy, he's got an 8.8 million running cost with the two engines. But you know, like he is quite expensive. I do lose a little bit of horsepower and I lose a little bit of top speed. But if he can still turn a profit and run at a decent speed, 120, if he can do 120 on his way up here, I'll be more than happy. Because that other train barely did 105. Like he just clicked over 105 as he was coming into the station. So, like, we're exceeding that now. So, you know, that's much better. If he can do 120 as he's pulling in, I'd be more than happy with that. That's an improvement. I might have to tweak a little bit more on the signaling and maybe some timing. Once these trains settle in the future, I might be able to set up a timing where they're regularly sort of in a pattern where they don't get in each other's way. They run like super efficient and make me the most amount of money possible. And then, you know, that can let me do things around the map that are not as profitable, let's say. But it's still necessary to get the goods moving to where they need to get to. For example, the little shunter down the end down there, he doesn't make me any money. But, you know, he doesn't lose me a lot either. But, you know, this little shunter that's coming past now, he doesn't make any money either. But I can't afford to have trains that have the potential to make money. Like, this train has the potential to make me money. It's just, he's losing me $2 million as he, at the very best, he's losing 2 million. At the worst, he's like losing 6 or 7 million. Yeah, and see, like this guy is not as good. It just simply is not as good. But you know, a blind upgrade to the very best is not always the best choice. Throwing an extra train on the line, a lot of the times, is not the best choice. That slows your line down. You know, it gets stacking. You might think, yeah, but it's dealing with the volume that's coming out. Yeah, but if you have an efficient line with less trains on it, just running efficiently, then they get more delivered than what more trains do. That there is kind of like a point at which this train is a smart choice, even though it loses me money. If all the trains run fast and get it delivered and there's no delays, he might have had a better potential to make a little bit of money in the future on a totally optimized line where no one's getting in each other's way, which means the other line makes even more money, even though he loses a little. It means that the other line is totally, you know, maxed out on its profit. That was the thinking of having all the trains as the 246s. But I think I can get away with these C40s. I'm just going to switch them to one each end here, so that they don't flip. I think I can get away with these guys, even if they're slowing down at the moment. Like he just had to stop there, which means that's going to have a flow-on effect. The next train behind him, this guy here, he's going to have to slow down for sure. like I haven't got the signals here for stacking. Remember, so these trains are not designed to stack. Like he 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 will get to a tighter and a tighter and a tighter signal as they move along here, down to about a half train length signal. This next one is. You look how close they are, and he's just going to turn in, and he's got the green light here. But look how short this signal is. That's not a full length. I might even be able to tighten that down even a little bit further. You just got to, if I can get the timing right, then they can almost, I can get the signals down short enough that they just miss each other. Like he comes through right behind him, maybe. Or I can just play with some timing on how long they sat at the platform. Maybe he sits for 10 seconds. I'm just going to flick these guys around either side as well. Um, you know, double-headed engine on each end so they don't flip either. Um, yeah, so maybe just tweaking how long a train sits at the station. That's how I could create a timetable. I just once they're in a flow, I can sort of look and go, oh, he's catching up on him like every second or third run. Let's just put a 10-second delay on it, and they won't have that problem. We do have an issue here on a stacking up of steel and machine parts now. This is a flow-on effect of this line, our coal and iron lines being so efficient now and getting the goods in. The steel mill's running at full capacity now. And I have an issue with what sort of cars I might be able to use on this train, because the newer cars are longer. I'm going to have to test that out, see what setup I might have on my town to town delivery trains. Right here, I'm just going to throw a second engine on the back, and hopefully that might help with the speed that they're running, so that they can actually pick up more. Um, but I'm not sure what the answer is there. I might have to, after I'm finished here, I might come back and just look at. I don't really want to move on to my city to city deliveries yet. I mean, that's a whole different story, and I've just sort of worked out what I wanted here. I'll be able to apply this. Yeah, 2.2. You're making money. Beautiful. I'm happy with that. And we got the iron totally sorted now. We're running the double-headed C40 400 meter. We've got the high-speed gondolas on a high-speed line, but the engine only runs 120. So we're not really taking full advantage of the high speed at this point. This guy is. This guy's a money. This guy's making. They're printing money. 14 million on this run. It was 18 million last run. Now this was our 246 previously that was losing money, and it might take him a while to earn that money back. Might take maybe till the end of the year that he can cycle around a couple of times and run us into the profit. But I'm sure he will in the future. He will definitely. For now, he's running that. He's running in the red from that 4-engine setup that we previously had on him. But I think I'm going to call it a day. This is done, and I've learned a lot from it, guys. Like I might have spent a little bit of extra time on this today, and I thank you guys for sticking around if you have. Like I really appreciate the time you give to the channel and the support you guys give me with a comment here or there, a like here or there, subscription. Thank you very much. This one has been a bit long, and I don't typically run towards an hour, but I wanted to show you what I do in a process where I'm really just learning what sort of setup I want to run on certain types of lines, and how I can make some money. Like it's very easy to lose money in this game on very hard mode. Um, and I love that challenge. I love the map. I love where the map has gone so far, and I'm interested to see where it ends. But Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you all have a good day, at least a better day than yesterday. Let's put it that way. A better day than yesterday. And I'll see you guys next time.